Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. Unfortunately, Josh is out sick today, so you guys are stuck with me, your main man, Jamie Angel. We're gonna have some fun today while the boss is away. But in all seriousness, we do wish Josh a quick recovery. Hope he's feeling better. There has been a bug going around Acadiana. I'm sure more than Acadiana the last few weeks. I had it. My whole family had it. I was out a couple weeks ago. Some of y'all might remember. But yeah, it's going around and it is nasty. And we wish Josh a quick recovery. But thank you to all of you for tuning in. Make sure you go check us out on Rumble, rumble.com. Look for the Josh Guillory Show. Give us a like, a thumbs up, and give us a chat. We're also going to open up the phone lines in the bottom half of the hour, 232-1542. 844-766-6607. If you want to share your thoughts, we're going to be hearing a little bit later, too, from our friends at the Acadiana Republican Women, talking about their meeting coming up in just a few weeks. But let's jump right into it, shall we? Charlie Kirk has been obviously the talk of everyone for the last week or so, and not going to go away anytime soon. Really big event, you know. It's going to leave a lasting impact. And, so let's jump into what we know so far. Investigation is intensifying. The alleged shooter, well, he remains uncooperative, according to Utah's governor and federal and state authorities. They're trying to look into motives, planning, if he had any accomplices. A lot of information came out over the weekend. And again, folks, I'm sure just trying to parse through everything, make sure what's coming out is accurate, and we try to do the same here before we share information. But again, we'll jump into the facts. Utah Governor Spencer Cox confirming that the suspect is not cooperating. Reports suggest investigators, they're combing through communications, possible networks that may have been involved, and Charlie Kirk's funeral is planned. It's being held in Arizona in the coming days. It's being labeled as a massive all-hands Secret Service event. We're going to jump into that a little bit more later on in the show. But again, each day we learn a little more, but not nearly enough. What we know, again, like I said, he's not cooperating. But think about that. One of the most high-profile assassinations of a conservative leader in decades. And the suspect just not saying anything. Like, if you're going to do something like this, at least have the cojones to come forth and explain why. You know, Charlie Kirk wasn't just another talking head. He was a young man. He built a $90 million a year organization. That's $90 million from scratch. He connected directly to President Trump. He inspired millions of college students to stand up against leftist indoctrination. To put it, as plainly as we can, he was dangerous to the left. Dangerous not because of violence, but because of his ideas, because of conservatism, because he challenged their monopoly on campuses, on culture, on the political future of our country. He opened people's eyes to something that the left, the liberal media, isn't showing our young people. I'm in my 40s, not ashamed to admit that, but I've been around long enough to see what's going on, to know when something's not right, to know when an ideal is not a good one. But now, tragically, Charlie Kirk's gone. And I can't help but notice that most of the mainstream news outlets refuse to call it what it appears to be: political violence. If it were a left-wing activist, just killed in his prime, we would already be hearing endless coverage about domestic terrorism, right-wing extremism, about new laws needed to curb what people say, take their guns away. But when the victim's conservative, it gets coverage for about a day or two. This time next week, other than Fox News, you probably won't hear all that much about it. Now, the funeral itself, again, turned into a massive test for the Secret Service. They're calling it all hands on deck, but there are multiple decks, layers upon layers of security, because they know the threat is real. Think about that. When conservatives gather to honor one of their own, it's going to require military level protection. What does that say about where we are as a nation? What does that say about America? Here's the bigger question. Are we entering a time when conservative leaders, thinkers, even young activists have targets on their backs? And if so, what does that mean for free speech in America? I'll tell you this. Silence is not an option. If conservatives allow fear to muzzle us, then the radical left doesn't even need bullets. Intimidation is just all they need. Job done, mission complete. So we open up the phone lines a little later. I want to hear from you. Do you believe the establishment is downplaying this because Charlie Kirk was a conservative? And should we be calling this what it really looks like? Political terrorism against the right. Charlie Kirk wasn't just a political activist. He represented a new generation of unapologetic conservative leadership. Let me repeat that. Unapologetic conservative leadership. For the folks who push back against President Trump, I'll tell you one thing that man is, and he is unapologetic. He has one mission, and that is to make life, make the experience for every American a good one, a great one. So, question to you. Why do you think the media is reluctant to call this political violence if they are? And what needs to be done to curb it? What is the answer? You know, we've been going back and forth since this happened. Oh, the left-wing media. Oh, and then the left is pushing back. Oh, the right's doing it too. Who's responsible? I've got some thoughts. And I'd say all of us. I would go so far as to say we're all responsible. Put the phones down for a second. Experience life. I was thinking about this over the weekend. Tyler Robinson's not a good person. Not a good person. He maybe was a good person. He might have been a good person up until last week. But good people don't do things like this. And I couldn't help but think about his parents. And I just got to feeling so bad for them because for all intents and purposes, he had a pretty solid upbringing as far as we know so far. He came from loving parents, a good home. He was educated. So what happened along the way from the time he was born to the time he turned 22 years old that led him down this path? You know, I've got some thoughts on it. I'll share them with you after the break, but it just something that I just can't get out of my head, and I just can't help but continue to feel for the parents. Hey, stick around. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we will dive a little deeper into this, and like I said, a little bit later, we'll open up the phones, see what you all think about all the things going on in the world. Stay with us. Josh Guillory Show, going to be right back right after this. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Josh out sick today, Jamie filling in. So thank you all for hanging out with me and bearing with me. Not the not the same charisma and style that Josh brings, but whatever. Y'all will deal with it fine enough. We got to go to the app chats. T-Don, always cracking me up. Probably because, St. Martin Parish. Y'all, that's my people. Says, happy Monday. Just wanted to share the great news. My transition is complete. Went from a boring, complicit, quit conservative to a pissed off patriot. That's what I'm talking about. T-Don. Kill Switch and Erath says, good afternoon, Jamie Solo. I believe vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Amen. And Desi also, St. Martin Parish, after seeing the worldwide condemnation of Charlie's assassination and the outpouring of support, this is the new meaning of the shot heard around the world. Ain't that the truth? Thank you guys for writing in. You can write in too in the app chat or go to rumble.com. We're streaming live. Rumble.com, the Josh Guillory Show. Give us a like and a follow. Let's get back to this. I was talking before the break about I was thinking over the weekend about just everything that went on, and man, it still pisses me off. This whole thing, and I'm one of those, and I'm sure many of you are like me, who's kind of confused by their reaction to the Kirk assassination. I wasn't a big Charlie Kirk follower before. I regret it now, having gone back and just listened to some of his talks and some of the messaging he had. I mean, incredible, especially when it comes to the church and just the importance of bringing folks back to the church and bringing the church back into our lives and the nuclear family. This man was the embodiment of the American dream. So I go back to this young man, I don't even want to call him a man, that took his life. Like, why? News came out over the weekend that this guy was, or reportedly, allegedly, all the whatever words you want to put before it, was in a relationship with a transgendered individual. And immediately that just how is it that we have seen so many of these incidents lately, and so many of them have come back and been tied to the transgender movement? Now, look, I am not here to put anyone down or bash transgender folks. I am just trying to make the observation, the point that there is a lot of mental stuff that goes into this. There is a lot of emotion, a lot of feeling, a lot of everything that goes into something as big as changing the biological sex that God assigned you at birth. So to be involved in that community I'm going to say it, it's going to come with some strings attached. It's going to come with some stuff, some baggage. How heavy are those bags that lead you to committing these kinds of acts? And if you are that involved with that community and you feel so strongly about it, was this the way to get your point across? You think this is going to make things better for that movement? Because it's really making me start to even more so question, why are we allowing things like this to happen? Why are we, especially at the younger ages, indoctrinating our kids into saying that this is okay, this is not okay? Anyway, I'll move past that. Let's talk a little bit more about the upcoming plans for Charlie's funeral. It's going to take place at State Farm Stadium. And I mentioned earlier, it's going to be a very complex security operation. Just the size of the venue, 63,000 seats. It's got an open registration format, which is going to make it even more difficult for security. Secret Service considering elevating that event to a national special security event, which would bring in more federal resources, kind of like they do for, the Super Bowl, college football national championship game. Security concerns include crowd control, vehicle ramming, biological threats, and counter sniper placement. Resources already a little strained, especially given the fact that Trump's flying over to Great Britain this week. He's going to have his second state visit with those folks there. He's going to be meeting with King Charles III. UN General Assembly also happening in New York. And experts warning of a broader trend, political figures facing heightened risks as targeted violence becomes normalized in American politics. The sheer scale of the operation underscores how dangerous it has become to be a conservative leader in America. Now the left insists that democracy is under threat. No, they rarely admit that conservatives are disproportionately on the receiving end of that violence and intimidation. Oh, what about George Floyd? We remember George Floyd. And justice was served. What that officer did was wrong. And he was convicted. What folks did in the aftermath was also wrong. Burning down businesses, committing more violence. Oh, we stopped people from being killed by killing more people. That's about the dumbest logic I've heard in my life. Dumbest things I've heard in my life. There's a painful irony here. When left-wing figures are threatened, the narrative immediately turns to domestic terrorism and right-wing extremism. When someone like Charlie Kirk's assassinated, oh, it's a security logistics story. It's not a political crisis. The fact that this man's funeral warrants a venue that seats 63,000 people should speak volumes for the man he was. Now, the public access element of this funeral is important. Conservatives want to remain connected to their grassroots supporters, and that's what Charlie was all about. But the rising climate of hostility, especially towards high-profile conservatives, it's forcing folks to have to ask these kinds of questions. Secret Service is stretched then, sure. But there's a bigger issue. I mean, we send resources to Ukraine. We send resources to Israel. We send resources all over the world. Let's use resources to protect our own people. There should be no discussion here, no back and forth about it. American people should feel safe. They should feel safe. All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to open up the phone lines. I want to hear what you have to say. We're also going to hear from Miss Joyce Lindy. She's going to be calling in, telling us about the next ARW meeting. So don't go anywhere. The Josh Guillory Show will be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Jamie Angel here with you. Josh out today, a little bit under the weather, so we're all sending our prayers and thoughts his way. But phone lines are open. Best time of the show, so we are going to go straight to them. We have my friend, Miss Joyce Lindy, is on the line. Miss Joyce, good afternoon. How's it going?
Well, good afternoon. It's going very well. Thank you very much.
Well,
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling in.
I was listening. Yeah, I was listening to you, and I know that everybody's been heartbroken and, just overwhelmed with what has happened the last few days. And I was listening to you talk about it and, whether or not we feel safe to even go to, big events anymore. It's really a tough time in America. But we do have we have a good evening coming up on September the 17th. That's Acadiana Republican Women. And we have some very dynamic and distinguished speakers. We have Mike Francis, and he's the District 4 chairman of the Louisiana Public Service Commission. And he's done a great job in Louisiana. He started his work as a roughneck and later developed his own company, Mike's Francis Drilling Fluids, and he's employed over 500 people in Louisiana, Texas, Oklahoma, and Wyoming, and throughout our country. So that's saying a lot. And his company is still based in Crowley. So he's our first speaker, Mike Francis, and District 4 chairman of the Public Service Commission. And then our second one is another gentleman that has really worked hard to get where he is, District Attorney Don Landry. He's the District Attorney for Vermilion, Lafayette, and Acadiana parishes. And he's come up through the ranks, too. So he's very interesting to talk to. He got his degree from ULL in law, actually from Southern in law. And then he was 34 years as a district attorney, and now he's a district attorney of Lafayette and Acadia and Lafayette Parish. So he's going to be speaking. He's a very interesting speaker. So.
And that's going to be Wednesday, this Wednesday?
Wednesday, I'm sorry, I get so involved in them. Wednesday, September 17th, and it's at 5:30 at River Oaks Catering Center. And they can call this number, 337-288-0568. That's Connie Boyer. And then go online and see Acadiana Republican Women if they don't remember the number. Just try to make your reservations by tomorrow at, 5 o'clock. We need to let them know, but we know everybody's been overwhelmed with what's been going on, we all know politically with Charlie Kirk, which is a very sad day in our country. But this will be uplifting to see that these gentlemen have done so well, worked their way up through the ranks, and are good representatives of Louisiana.
Always a great meeting too. Let me tell you, those ladies know how to put on a dinner, and the food is excellent, and the conversation's even better. And definitely get those tickets, Miss Joyce. You're gonna have to put me and Josh down. We'll, we're bad about reserving stuff.
Oh, well, we know y'all are coming. Although Josh, I hope he'll be well by then.
I know. He better be.
Yeah, but he can, listen, even if he's not well, you can walk in. And, we try to get as many reservations as we can. We can't have 50 people walking in. But every once in a while somebody does, and, that's fine. But yeah, we look forward to seeing you. So I'll see you for sure, and I'll put you down.
All right, y'all go check them out.
Okay.
Acadiana Republican Women. Find them on Facebook, and all the information for their event's going to be there. Ms. Joyce, thank you so much.
Yeah, you sure can. Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.
All right, bye-bye. That was Ms. Joyce Lindy. Always great to hear from our Republican women's groups. And listen, phone lines are open. You want to call in, share your thoughts, 232-1542, or if you're calling outside the area, 844-766-6607. Don't forget to go check us out on Rumble. Give us a like, give us a follow, and we'll all be part of this. Let's get back to what we're talking about here. This funeral that's set to take place. Again, we should all be a little extra upset that one, that this funeral is even happening, that it has to happen, and two, that it's got to have so much security. Anyway, let's move on. White House requesting $58 million for additional security for lawmakers and judges. Again, probably necessary at this point given the state of affairs. But again, sad times we live in that we're now going to have to get to a point where we may have to provide security, extra security for the people who go and represent us in Congress. Anyway, let's move on. Many folks, I'm sure many folks who listen to this show watch Fox News. A little bit of controversy coming out of there over the weekend after a host made remarks about killing mentally ill homeless people. Let's get you some facts. Some remarks sparked outrage. They drew condemnation from advocacy groups and political opponents. Apology was issued, but again, folks are now saying that conservatives are insensitive. Well, let's talk about it. Fox News host Brian Kilmeade made a remark this weekend. He's apologized, rightfully so, because let's be clear, words matter. None of us should casually talk about taking another human life. It's not who we are as conservatives. It's not who we are as people, not who we are as Christians, and it doesn't help things right now. In case you haven't noticed, things are a little volatile. Things are a little heated. But now let me also say this. I do understand the frustration behind it. I do. For years now, Americans have been told to just live with it. This has become our normal. Chaos has become the American normal. We've been told to accept open-air drug markets, violent crime on the streets, tent cities outside businesses and homes, people shouting at the sky on street corners, on the subway, sometimes threatening people. But when conservatives raise concerns, the left, they don't do anything. They talk about compassion. Well, they just leave the folks there. You know, my wife is from Oregon. Yeah, I'm living proof that people from different ideologies can work it out. You know, she's a bit on the left, but I digress. We went to Portland. There were literal tents lining downtown sidewalks, syringes on the streets. At one point, Oregon legalized drug use. That's not okay, people. That's not the American dream. That's not making things better. It's not compassion. It's cruel. It's abandonment. But yes, the Fox News host went too far. But the outrage should also be aimed at the policies that created this environment in the first place. Liberal mayors, liberal city councils, tying the hands of police, in many cases defunding the police. They decriminalize crime. They put billions into homeless programs that don't do anything. And they've told law-abiding citizens that just deal with it. Come on, man. Come on. Let's go to the phone lines. Renee, what you think about all that?
Hello.
Hey, Renee, what you got?
Yeah, I don't like the idea of leaving homeless people out there to prey of each other and criminals and maybe angry vigilantes when they mess up. That's cruelty. That's cruelty to animals and cruelty to people. These people need to be somewhere safe and somewhat better taken care of. Right? We're all about feelings and humanities and caring. Caring should be not leaving them out in their elements and not baiting and not being taken care of or supervised. That's like that. We worry more about animal cruelty and abandonment than people abandonment.
You are not wrong, Renee. You are not wrong about that. He's right. Many of these places invest more money in fluff programs than actually helping people, educating folks, finding the root cause of the issue. Let's go to the app chat. Ms. Marilyn, thank you. You're the best. You're doing a good job today, Jamie. I'm still not happy that you're no longer on the morning show. Well, I'm happy. I just don't have to wake up that early. Billy from Church Point says, doing a great job. Thanks, Billy. And T-Don, I'm going to answer you in the break, T-Don. We are going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll leave the phone lines open and we'll continue our conversation about Brian Kilmeade's words over the weekend. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Jamie Angel here. Josh out under the weather today. Phone lines are open 232-1542, 844-766-6607 if you're outside the area. Also catch us live on rumble.com. Right now we are streaming. Go give us a like and a follow and all the good stuff. Picking up where we left off, realize I didn't give y'all a lot of background information on the on this story about Brian Kilmeade. But before I get into that, let's go back to the phone lines. Caller, you are live on the Josh Guillory Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hello.
Yep, my name is Penn, calling from Lafayette.
Hey,
and
Ben.
I had a little comment about what you said about the guy's uncolorful or off-color comments. And I wanted to call to attention of your listeners. About 30 years ago, Rush used to say, let's feed the homeless to the hungry. And, you know, that could be considered insensitive if it weren't for being tongue-in-cheek, you know. But he said something like that, and it was decades ago. And now all of a sudden, you know, anything somebody says is reason to string them up by a flagpole somewhere. And I just, you know, on either side of whatever the argument is, people need to take a little breath and leave a little room, you know?
Yeah.
Because that's just my thought.
Words matter. Words matter.
Thank you, man.
Thank you. Yeah. Again, sometimes we say things look, I'm not perfect. Hey, boy, have I said some things I regret. Whew. I mean, at one point I was a registered Democrat. Might regret just saying that, but that was a long time ago before I wised up. I probably said some dumb stuff. We learn, we evolve, and we make amends. This is the quote that this is what Brian Kilmeade said on Fox and Friends. He said, quote, and again, he was talking about they were talking about the attack on the Ukrainian woman on the Charlotte light rail train back in August, and the guy who killed her, DeCarlos Brown Jr., a homeless man, long criminal record. He's a paranoid schizophrenic. That's according to his family. And that topic led one of the co-hosts to say that billions of dollars have been spent on programs to care for the homeless and mentally ill, but many of those afflicted resist help. Saying, quote, a lot of them don't want to take the programs. A lot of them don't want to get the help that's necessary. You can't give them the choice. Either you take the resources that we're going to give you or you decide that you've got to be locked up in jail, end quote. Kilmeade added, quote, or involuntary lethal injection or something. Just kill him, end quote. Now, when we put it in perspective, he was talking about this specific case, probably allowing his emotions to come out a little more than they should if you are in journalist mode. And those remarks started to circulate on X Saturday. And he had to respond. He said, quote, I apologize for extremely callous remark. He said that Sunday morning during the show. He continued, I am obviously aware that not all mentally ill homeless people act as the perpetrator did in North Carolina, and that so many homeless people deserve our empathy and compassion, end quote. He's not wrong in that they deserve our empathy and compassion. Absolutely. But they also deserve help. They deserve more than what they're getting. You know, a lot of these homeless folks are veterans, just like me, just like Josh, just like a lot of our listeners. And a lot of us who were deployed had to experience some things that it's just unreal. It's just not things that normal folks should experience. And a lot of it is things that no one should experience, but that's just the spoils of war. And it does something to you. But do we just throw up our hands and give up? You know, this guy, this DeCarlos Brown Jr., he's someone's son. Where's his family? Where are the people that love and care about him? And with this, it takes me back to Charlie Kirk, who fought to bring back the American family, the nuclear family, to bring back Jesus, to bring back God into our lives. I guarantee you, homes with love and God and family, they don't normally breed killers. So, what is so wrong about a message of love? What is so wrong about a message of being kind, of being accepting, of understanding? He wasn't forcing things on people. He was just trying to force an understanding on people. We may not agree, but it's okay. We don't have to agree. That's all right. In fact, if God intended for us all to agree, he would have made us that way. Celebrate our uniqueness. Celebrate our diversity. And all the things that are good that are given to us by God. Anyway, that first hour went by quick. We are going to take a break for the news. And when we come back, we have more of the Josh Guillory Show coming your way right after this. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Josh Guillory Show. I'm Jamie Angel. Josh, a little under the weather today, so I'll be covering down in his absence. And thank you all for joining us and for coming back for the second hour. We have been talking about a lot today. We've been talking about the aftermath of the Charlie Kirk assassination and some of the things that have happened in the meantime. And before the break, we were talking about Brian Kilmeade and his unfortunate choice of words that he used, and drawing a lot of criticism, a lot of opposition. But again, many people lecturing, so insensitive. Why would you do that? Why? Well, that's the question: is why? Is the outrage here really about what he said, or is it about the greater context? Homeless people. There's an issue with homelessness. That's the most polite way I can say it. There's an issue with homelessness. Money for shelters not going to fix it. All this money that can, not going to fix it. Get to the underlying root. Why? Is it drugs? Tackle that. Is it mental health? Address that. Stop wasting money on things that aren't doing anything. Anyway, we're going to leave that one alone. Move on from that. I want to go back a little bit to what we were talking about before with the latest on the investigation into this crazy person who shot Charlie Kirk and how he's not cooperating. And it all circles back to going online. 22-year-old, seemingly from a good family. He's a third-year student in an electrical apprenticeship program. Grew up in Washington, Utah. And investigators pointing to gaming and dark internet culture as potential factors that may have radicalized him based on information from family, friends, and acquaintances. And again, all of this widely reported online. This specifically coming from a CNN article on the latest updates. The governor telling NBC News, quote, "Clearly, there was a lot of gaming going on. Friends that have confirmed that there was kind of that deep, dark internet, Reddit culture, and these other dark places of the internet where this person was going deep. You saw that on the casings, the memification that is happening in our society today," end quote. He's referencing the engravings that were on those bullets. Not the first time we've seen that. The messages including a mix of memes and allusions to video games. Series of arrows representing controls that she used to do like a secret, like a cheat mode. Lyrics from a song linked to Antifa, anti-fascist, Antifa. I call anti-fascist Antifa, like most people should. Said that investigators also looking into his romantic relationship with his roommate, who, like I mentioned earlier, was transitioning from male to female. Those could be connected to his motivation for the shooting. The partner's apparently been cooperative, but I think there's a lot more there to look into. Which brings me to the gaming platform Discord. Heard a lot about Discord lately. Discord and what's the other one? Roblox. All those things. Folks, if you are not paying attention to what your children are doing online, you're wrong. If you have a child in your home under the age of 18 and you are not supervising their online activity, I'm sorry to tell you, but you're wrong. There is too much stuff out there that children can be exposed to that they should not be. Too many things out there that children should not be able to find and have access to. Now, I can't tell other people how to parent their children. I can tell you what I do. Our kids didn't get phones until they were 13, and even then, can't ever take them in a closed room. Got to be within visual sight of us at all times. No taking the phone to bed at night. Why? Because I love my kids. Because I care about my children. And there are some things out there that are just downright scary online. Pay attention, folks. How many times do we have to report on children being exploited online, being trafficked, all these perverts being arrested almost every day? Well, they're not going to have my kids' pictures, I tell you that much. We have got to pay attention. We have got to monitor what our children are exposed to. Gosh, when we were kids, it was so easy. We had 3 channels. And if we wanted to watch a different channel, we had to wait until the antenna turned. We got a Nintendo at one point, an Atari. Yay. There's no danger there. But as time went on, the world got a lot smaller. And things got a lot easier to get to. We had it so easy. Nowadays, you're hard-pressed to get a kid off of an electronic device. You're hard-pressed to get an adult off of an electronic device. We're living lives in a reality that's not real. Put the phone down. Take your kids' phones and put them up. Go play outside this afternoon. Go do something fun. Go share some love somewhere. Make sure your kids know that they are loved and they're okay. And that violence isn't normal. And that sometimes it's okay to disagree with people. Lots of disagreements in my house. We don't shoot each other. We love each other. We find a way. The same can apply to everyone. Watch what your kids are doing online. This young man probably would not be in the situation he's in now if he was not exposed to some of the stuff he was exposed to. I mean, we all have to deal with it. Our kids speak a different language than us sometimes. But I'll be damned if I'm not going to try my best to learn that language. Because it's important. This young man's parents, I can't even begin to imagine what their lives are like now. What their lives are going to be like. It doesn't have to be this way. All right, enough of my lecturing. We're going to take a break. When we come back, more on the Josh Guillory Show. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Jamie Angel holding down the fort while Josh is under the weather. We're going to be opening up the phone lines in the next hour, so if you're on hold, keep holding. And if you're not on hold, call in a bit. 232-1542, 844-766-6607. All right, we are going to switch gears now. Let's talk about everybody's favorite topic, TikTok. Good news. Framework is reportedly in place between the U.S. and China over TikTok. Trump and Xi are set to meet Friday to finalize. This framework may allow U.S. oversight of TikTok's data handling, and the Trump administration has long pressed China on tech and data security. But yeah, reports say that the United States and China have that framework in place. They're expected to meet Friday, finalize the deal. Now, let's be clear. TikTok is not just a silly after-dance videos. It's a data mining machine for Chinese communists, for the Chinese Communist Party. It's a tool of influence, propaganda, and surveillance. And guess what? We're all on it. We're all doing it. I know I am. For years, Democrats downplayed the threat. Not a big deal. Conservatives, especially under Trump, are the ones warning that TikTok was a Trojan horse. Now we're seeing those warnings validated. Trump once again stepping into the arena, negotiating from strength and forcing Beijing to the table. Here's the deal. There's tension between free markets and national security. Conservatives, we believe in free enterprise. But when that free enterprise in question is something owned by the CCP, gathering data on millions of Americans, not just Americans, children as well. That's what feeds their algorithm. That's what basically, hate to say it, goes down the road to indoctrination. We cannot just look the other way. I like TikTok. I'm not going to lie to you. My wife, I don't love it as much as most people do that are heavy into it. My wife loves it. So I tell her, send me all the videos you want to send me every Saturday morning. We take some time out. We watch the TikTok videos once a week. I don't spend hours on it like a lot of people do. But they're not going to play fair. They're not going to just let American companies have free reign. They're known for stealing intellectual property. They buy influence. They have folks in our universities. They're infiltrating our politics. We're at a war, folks. We're in war. And this is how they fight it without a single shot. So what's the right move here? Do we ban it? It's going to be hard to do that. You know how many people in America make money off of TikTok now? People are selling stuff left and right. It is its own little ecosystem, its own little economy. Can't just shut it down. You're going to screw a lot of people if you do. Do we force a sale to an American company? I'm sure if that was the easiest answer, it would have been done already. It's nice to see, though, that the president still considers this a threat and that he's not just, laughing it off. So let me ask you, do you think TikTok should be banned completely or with the proper oversight? Can we make it work? So he's planning on holding this phone call with Xi on Friday to finalize that deal. Again, they have that September 17th deadline, which is Wednesday. China was kind of trying to use this as a bargaining chip for trade policy, for tariffs. But I don't think we're willing to sacrifice our economy and our national security over an app. So we'll see. We'll see if TikTok manages to hang on. But curious to know what you folks think. We'll open up the phone lines in just a bit. But before we do that, I'm going to switch gears a little bit. We've been talking about the media and the dangers that come with it, and not just dangers that the media brings, but there are dangers to the media. Just ask some folks in Utah, where an explosive device was found under a news media vehicle. I mean, what is going on? A Utah man arrested. They defused a device. A suspect's in custody. But why did he do it? Still don't know. Thankfully, it was found before it went off. No one was hurt. But let's step back and look at the bigger picture. Our nation is on edge. We have reached a tipping point, a turning point, if you were. We need to be clear, though. Violence is never the answer. I mean, what are we doing? Planting bombs, attacking journalists, threatening lives. It's not conservative. It's not patriotic. It's not American. But you have to look at why this exists. And gosh darn it, I hate to preach, but let's go back to phones, media, the mainstream media. They spend decades lying, distorting the truth, ridiculing Americans for just trying to do the right thing, especially conservatives. They become a propaganda machine for the left. They vilify parents at school board meetings. They downplay riots. They attack faith, family, and traditional values. I guess I just answered my own question. This is what's wrong with the country. So when people lose faith in the press and feel like their voices are silenced, some of them lose it. And that's not okay. Now, many turn to alternatives. They go to conservative outlets, liberal outlets, if that's what you prefer, talk radio, independent media. But some folks, they lash out. And that's what we're seeing, and it's only going to get worse. Now, what this man's motives were are unsure. I'm sure the left will spin this as proof that conservatives are dangerous. We don't know if he was a conservative. We might. I haven't seen the latest on this, but the left never seems to admit their own culpability in creating this climate. The corporate press has abandoned journalism for profits, but not just profits, for activism. And the result is a country where people don't just disagree, they shoot people. They disagree with guns. Oh, but guns are a problem. No, guns aren't a problem. Guns were never the problem. I get a lot of guff for saying this, but guns don't kill people. People kill people. I have never seen a gun load itself, turn a safety off, pull its own trigger and shoot someone. Never seen it. I'd like to say I never will, but we live in strange times. Guns don't kill people. Madness is what drives people to kill people. So here's my question. Well, actually, here's where we can be different as conservatives. Let's stop endorsing violence. Instead, we have to double down on pushing truth. Building our own media institutions if we have to. But we have to fight with facts, truth, with courage, not with bombs, not with guns. So here's my question to you. Do you trust the mainstream media at all anymore? And if not, why? What do you do? How are we supposed to get information? Who are we supposed to trust? I don't know. Give us a call, 337-232-1542, 844-766-6607. We're going to take a break. When we come back, phone lines will be open. You are listening to The Josh King. welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Jamie Angel filling in for Josh today. A little under the weather. That's all right. Wish him well. Phone lines are open. 232-1542, 844-766-6607 if you're outside the area. We are going to go straight to the phone lines. Caller, what's your name? Where you calling from? What you got?
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, how's it
My
going?
name is Mike, calling from St. Martinville.
Hey, Mike.
Good, man. Listen, I don't know who the three biggest culprits, and I don't even know how to rank them, is the Democratic Party, who I was a Democrat as you were. It doesn't even resemble what it was. The university system that I graduated in back in '83 doesn't resemble a university system anymore. It's a propaganda machine.
Yeah.
And the media is no longer about journalism. It's another propaganda machine. I think those three are some of the biggest culprits that has ruined our. I saw a recent study of youth in university. 70 to 80% said they had to play at more being woke than they really were because of the grades. And so, but when you're lying like that, it has to affect your morality, and they're pretty much forcing their hand to act woke so that they can get a decent grade with these woke professors. So I think those are the three biggest culprits, and I don't see much change coming in the future.
Yeah, I think you're spot on with that, Mike. I wish I could understand why they feel important to do this, but it's just something we'll have to deal with. Thanks, Mike. All right, let's go to caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from? What you got? You there, caller?
Hello?
That's you. What you got?
Hey, man, I just want to say Charlie Kirk was the moderate.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Charlie Kirk was not extreme. Charlie Kirk was. I mean, fundamentally, he just wanted what most people want: the American dream. All right, let's go, Renee. What you got?
Yeah, I'm not moderate. I just don't have the means to do what I want. But I'll tell you what, just like they want to know the Epstein files, they're going banana for the Epstein files. You know what I'm going banana about? I want to know who the hell the college professors and high school teachers of that Robertson fella that shot Charlie Kirk. And then I want to know his bar friends, college professors and high school teachers, because he influenced him. Y'all want to know that, because then you get to figure out people, like Obama's history. You get to figure out why Obama does what he does by seeing who influenced him.
Yeah, I hear you, Renee, and I'll agree in that somebody influenced him. In this case, I don't know that it would be college. I mean, it's my understanding he was going to a smaller college studying like electrical engineering or something, or being an electrician or something. Politics shouldn't have a place in that, but these days you never know. I truly think he was indoctrinated online. I think he was indoctrinated on these Discord servers, in these chat rooms. And again, parents, just please do yourself a favor today. Go talk to your kids about Discord. Go look at their search history. Go look at what they're doing. Make sure you know who they're talking to, because there are people pretending to be other people. They're just monsters out there, and that's not the one you want. Let's go to Big Chris. Big Chris, what's up?
First of all, Jamie ain't got time to be sick. Tell him to get back to the office.
That's right.
No. What was that Renee before me? What he's saying is right. It's starting in the schools, and now it's in the elementary schools. They indoctrinate them. Then as they get older, they get on these chat forums, and they foment. It
normalizes
saying the same thing. But what the most insidious thing is, these professors and these teachers in place of power can change these kids' minds, and they have no responsibility of the action that they take after. So there should be a way, I don't know if there is, but there should be a way to hold these professors accountable. Because I've said it before on the show, if they ought to be able to teach a subject and the students not know the political leaning one way or the other, just like priest. You shouldn't know which way they lean. You know, they
Yeah.
should be straight down the middle. If they teach anything other than the subject that they're teaching, they should be fired. End of story.
Absolutely, absolutely. Unless your kid's going to a private school, a Catholic, or a private school that's affiliated with a religion, there should also be no religion taught in schools.
Exactly. Because they know they're going to a Catholic school. They know they're going for religion. But a public school or a publicly funded school should be so neutral that you don't know which way that professor, that teacher's leaning. That's the perfect way.
Exactly. And I'm not saying that because, I don't follow the teachings of Jesus Christ. I absolutely do. I'm saying I wouldn't trust these public school teachers to teach my kid about religion because I don't know what religion they're subscribing to.
They shouldn't teach religion, and they shouldn't teach politics. They should teach these subjects. They should teach math. They should teach English. They should teach history, and correct history, not the man-made. I mean, the made-up history.
Exactly.
So, and if they can do that without a slant and the students not knowing which way they lean, that's the perfect teacher or professor.
Indeed. Thanks, Big Chris. Now we're going to go to your partner, JP. What's up, JP?
So I'd like to thank Big Chris for not leaving any time for anybody else to talk. We just had a major meeting at the office about it, and my concern is this. So we as the right on the conservative side are calling this a mental illness. And, there's talk out there that this guy's having a relationship with someone who's trans and whatnot. And we're looking at considering that being a mental illness and taking away Second Amendment rights and all of these things. So we have a 22-year-old shooter who's been radicalized by left-wing media and propaganda. At his age, I'm thinking death penalty versus not death penalty is where I'm going with this. At his age, and how much responsibility do the people who indoctrinated him actually have in this? We're not looking at a 35 to 40-year-old man whose brain was completely developed and was able to make a sane decision. He had never seen both sides or heard both sides of the story. So we're calling it a mental illness. Well, is he not innocent by reason of insanity, which I think is a long jump. I know that I don't want to aggravate a lot of people by saying that, but I guess the point I'm trying to make is, he's 22 years old. All he's known is left wing. Just like a lot of us, all we hear is right wing.
Mm-hmm.
We're adults and we can distinguish the difference. This 22-year-old developing brain. Just a question I just want to kind of throw out there and see what people think. If death for 22 years old is what Charlie Kirk and what our Lord and Savior would want for us to decide.
Well, JP, a couple questions for you. One, I'll push back a little bit on the is his brain. We know at a young age that killing is wrong. My 13-year-old knows that killing somebody is wrong. So I that defense
absolutely,
to me,
you are correct. You are correct there.
Now, let me ask you this though: would sentencing him to death and putting him to death make him a martyr?
I don't think it would. I don't think it would make him a martyr, but I don't think it would. I don't think that it would do any good. I think it would only enrage the extreme left as a battle cry for them. I don't know if that means making him a martyr, but I think that we almost have to look at what would Charlie's wife and what would Charlie want as a decision for this guy's punishment.
Yeah.
Part of me began to say Charlie would say forgiveness, and then I heard his wife speak, and I realized how constitutionally bound to the Bible they are, and now I won't be surprised if she says death penalty.
Yeah.
So it's just something I wanted to throw out there and see what everybody else thought.
Well, I appreciate it, JP. Thanks for calling in. We are going to go to Justin. Justin, what you got?
So my thought is, you were talking about the media and the people, how they dislike them and stuff. But I also think, and I hear what you're saying, and I agree with you, but I also think you have to throw in there, it did not help that we had a president of the United States that labeled them the enemy of the people. And I can understand his reasoning behind it, is saying, oh, they're giving you misinformation and all that. But I think his choice of words put a hit on them.
Well, I'll agree with you, Justin, that he definitely uses some wording often that I don't agree with. But yeah,
Yeah.
all things we'll have to keep an eye on. Thanks, Justin. All right, we're gonna take a break. When we come back, we will wrap things up here on the Josh Guillory Show. So stick around. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the Josh Guillory Show. Last segment on this Monday. Jamie Angel here for you. Josh out under the weather today, but hopefully he'll be back tomorrow or sometime this week. Before we go, we've been talking about some heavy stuff. I wanted to share this story I came across on Fox News. Oh, man. So, y'all just be patient. This woman leaves her anniversary dinner over her husband's gift that was, well, it was basically for himself. So this was published over the weekend on Fox News, Chloe Quill. In her post, this 31-year-old wife described weeks of planning this special second wedding anniversary dinner, saying, quote, I spent weeks saving up to buy him a smartwatch he had been eyeing. I wrapped it nicely, cooked his favorite meal, and set up candles. Well, what did her husband get her? $100 gift card to his favorite gaming store. Yeah. Yep, he just laughed and said, quote, we can both use it since you watch me play all the time. She was not quite happy. She said, on our anniversary, my gift was literally something for him. Many people said that, she said that she was told she was being ungrateful. And then she left and spent the night at her sister's house. Man, I don't know how long this relationship's going to last if on their second anniversary he gets her a $100 gift card to the GameStop. She should have probably done her homework before marrying that guy. Anyway, as we close in on the end of the show, let's bring everything we talked about full circle. We talked about the Kirk investigation, the White House's security requests, the controversy at Fox News, TikTok deal with China, and now the crazy man planning an explosive device under a media vehicle. When you step back, picture's pretty clear. Our nation's on edge, man. Conservatives are under fire, sometimes literally. Elites are scrambling to protect themselves while ignoring the everyday Americans and the media. Instead of calming tensions, they're often throwing gasoline on the fire. A lot of folks will come out and say, well, you're the media. You're doing the same thing. You have never once heard anyone on this show openly call for violence. Not directly, not in a serious way. Never certainly called for anyone being killed. It's not that important, It's important. These things are important, but it's not that important where you have to kill someone. But here's the thing. We can't afford to retreat. We can't let fear silence us. The answer is stronger conservative institutions, stronger communities, and voices that refuse to back down. How do we do that? I still say it's by putting the phone down, turning the TV off, sitting down for a meal with your family, playing a game. Do the things we used to do before the internet. Do the things we used to do before cell phones. Can you remember playing outside until the street lights came on? Going over to a friend's house to play instead of playing online? Y'all remember that? I know y'all remember having to turn the antenna with that little thing there, so you could catch KLFY or catch KATC. You got to turn it to the right antenna. Tell your kids about those times. Have some fun and tell them you love them. Folks, thank y'all for letting me spend the last 2 hours with you. Honored to be here with you in Josh's absence, and hopefully he gets better soon and joins us again later on this week. But in the meantime, I want you all to have a great evening. Be safe out there. God bless. And like Josh always says, remember to be kind. We'll see you tomorrow.